For this video, I will be using the Reignited version of Spyro 1, but I will not be covering skill points.
Mitosis! Talk about why Spyro the Dragon was a good game.
What? Who is that? God?
Yes! Now get off your ass and talk about Spyro!
No. I'm sorry, I just don't want to talk about Spyro.
You do it now, you tiny little man! Do you realize the power I have?
Okay. I'll talk about it, God. I'll talk about it. Since God is threatening me, I will be talking about Spyro the Dragon, the 1999 worldwide success starring the titular Spyro the Dragon. The game starts out with a news crew, asking the dragons about Gnasty GNORC, who's found a spell to turn gems into warriors. But one of the dragons pisses Gnasty off and he turns all the dragons into crystal statues, besides Spyro, and steals the gems to make henchmen or something. So, Spyro is off to save the day. Spyro is then faced with talking to a dragon. Oh no! The dragon tells Spyro to collect dragons and such. I wonder what this door does. Maybe if I complete the world. The first world is the Artisan's World, my favorite world. It's filled with GNORCs and is very colorful. The world acts as a tutorial, with most dragons giving tips and tricks about flying and these stupid annoying blue thieves that have stolen the eggs from the dragons. I love the way each dragon looks, with a unique design for every one of them. They all sound unique and have different styles similar to the worlds, like in the Dreamweaver's world, where some of the dragons look like they have just woken up. What I'm trying to say is that the dragons look like they fit in the world, with not only their looks but also their voices. I also think it's safe to say that the game looks better than the PS1. But that is a very unfair comparison. I mean, the game came out 20 years ago. But I can still bask in the beautiful graphics and vibrant colors. It's not only the colors and graphics, the game just feels better. I'm comparing this to the PS1 version of Year of the Dragon. In that game, the camera is hard to control and moving Spyro feels pretty clunky. But in this game, Spyro feels great to control, and the camera feels more controllable with the analog stick. I'm not done though. In my opinion, the music sounds better and the game doesn't look as gloomy. The game is filled with tons of gems, dragons, and eggs. Gems are your basic tier collectible. They don't do much, but are fun to collect, and are usually hidden in some pretty hard places to find. The eggs are your mid-tier collectible. They still don't do much, but are a little tricky to get. As I was saying, these little blue thieves have stolen all the dragon eggs, and it's Spyro's job to get them. It doesn't seem so difficult, especially when they keep saying, "Please, just stop!" Sorry about that. It just gets me a little annoyed. So that's why I love burning them. Anyways, I really like the design. They kinda look like Jawas from Star Wars, but blue. The dragons are the top tier collectibles. Say your Jiggies or Stars. They were needed to progress to new hub worlds similar to Artisans. I can talk about the little creatures that spit out extra lives, or the little orbs that if collected enough give extra lives, but I'd rather talk about the guidebook. The guidebook is probably the most useful tool in the game, allowing you to see how much gems, eggs, and dragons are still needed to collect to get 100% in the level, which can be very rewarding or relieving depending on some levels. I'll get to you, treetops, mark my words. But I really wish the guidebook told you how many levels are in the world, because it is annoying leaving a hub world only to find out you still have a level left. Most likely being flying levels, since a lot of them are hidden. So let's talk about them. On the surface, flying levels like Sunny Flight or Night Flight seem fun. Well, okay, they are, but I have one problem that can make them really annoying. The control. I don't know what it is, but when flying, it can be hard to be precise. The things you need to burn can also have some pretty bad hitboxes. Also, if you barely touch the surface, Spyro stops flying and sometimes that can ruin the try. Did I mention it's timed? No? Yeah! You gain more time the more you break things, but sometimes even if you do it perfectly, the time can be so tight. I even got some times where I only had one thing to burn, but at the last second, the time ran out. That's why I think the flying levels are some of the most annoying yet rewarding levels in the game. But other than that, it is so satisfying to burn everything in a row, because the levels are very straightforward with most of the things being in a line. There are even fairies that guide you in the right direction. There's only like 2 levels where it's not entirely aligned and a bit confusing, but even those are still pretty straightforward. While I'm on the topic of controls, Spyro has a couple of abilities. He can charge, glide, breathe fire, and of course, jump. The game will make you utilize those moves for some cool combos. The charge can be used to kill enemies, but it can also be used to reach farther places with the glide. Spyro isn't on his journey alone though. He's joined by Sparx, his little firefly companion that is the replacement for the health bar. Sparx can take 3 hits before dying, I guess. Yellow is max health, blue is 2 hits left, then green is 1 hit left before he leaves. Sparx also eats butterflies from different creatures around the game. I guess the term butterflies in your stomach means something else in this game. After completing some levels, Spyro gains access to fight a new, bigger, better foe, Toasty. I like the autumn aesthetic of the level, and exploring is always fun. There are these dogs that are pretty difficult, but if you figure out their pattern, they aren't too bad. Now it's time to face off with Toasty. He seems pretty challenging from what this dragon says.
Be careful, Spyro. Toasty has many tricks up his sleeve.
What? Is this Toasty? He looks like a normal enemy. Was that it? What tricks? Were his tricks standing around and doing nothing? The dogs are harder than Toasty! The freaking dogs! The bosses, well, not the main focus, aren't very hard, like, at all. I'll talk more about this later, but a lot of the bosses are just really anticlimactic. They're kind of just like normal enemies that take a couple extra hits to kill. Finally, I'm done with that boss. Let's go check the gem door. I guess it's just a stubborn little... The next world is the Peacekeepers world, which you can get to by talking to the balloonist.
You ready to go?
While we're waiting, the load times can be long. Not valid for long, but it can take a couple minutes. But it's not too bad because you'll spend more time playing than waiting. Oh, and we're here. I like the canyon style of the Peacekeepers world. Probably why there's a bunch of cannon yuns. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyways, the colors are less vibrant in this world compared to Artisans. But I like the contrast. This game is really good in my opinion at giving contrast to the worlds. You'll be in a bright colorful world, then a world that's not filled with so much color. The Peacekeepers world is filled with GNORCs that like to run away to their tents. Ha! Yeah! It's also filled with a bunch of goop that Spyro can't swim in. I really like the way the game uses the gliding feature. A lot of the areas need you to glide over to them, so even before you leave the first world, you'll be a pro at it. Anyways, good hub world. Let's move on to enemies. I think I've gone a bit too long without talking about the enemies. The enemies can look like anything in this game. It all has to do with the hub world. They can be wizards, GNORCs with guns, dogs, or even shepherds. They can be wearing nothing or even metal armor which Spyro has to headbutt to take out. They come in small sizes who can die from most anything, to big sizes where they need to be burned. There are also many bosses, one for each world. Every world has a boss, 3 levels, 1 hub, and a boss. In Peacekeepers, there is Dr. Shemp. So far the best boss, but that's not saying much. Shemp has metal armor in the front, so when he attacks you have to burn him in the ass. Do that 3 times and you've beat him. Heh, at least this one packs a punch. I'm kind of going to skip past Magic Crafters, because in my opinion, it's the least notable hub world. Yeah, it introduces the supercharge pad, which makes Spyro go speedy, and the super flame breath thing. But it's just kind of boring. It's just a snowy mountain. I have expected to find Billy the Goat wandering around. And its boss lacks luster, with me not even realizing that it was a boss. I'm not saying I don't like it, I still find it fun, but it's definitely my least favorite world out of all of them. And now it's come to this. My least favorite world, Beastmakers. The design of the world is cool, with a dark and gloomy swamp to explore. Spyro still can't swim though. The reason that this is my least favorite world is, first of all, the electricity enemies, while a fun idea, can be quite annoying. But that's not too bad. In one of the levels, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the enemies because they swarm you. But the final reason is treetops. I hate this level with a burning passion. It uses the supercharge pads to gain access to new areas, but it has you jumping over voids, so if you miss, you die and lose a life. It's also pretty cryptic with where things are, some even being on islands in the distance. Treetops just makes for an annoying experience. But what doesn't is Metalhead. He is the boss of this world and is my favorite. Instead of chasing him down and flaming him, you have to hit these things in the ground and break them. But when they turn red, they shock you. This boss has the most gameplay out of all of them and is hardest, even compared to the final boss. His design is cool too, kinda looks like a robot ox. I like the boss, but the level sucks. It's just not very fun to explore and isn't very noteworthy. The final world before the final boss. Dreamweavers is something out of a dream. It's cloudy, it's colorful, and the enemies look straight out of last night. I like this world, but not only for its style, but also its exploration. Gems are everywhere, and you even need to shrink some enemies to get some gems. This is one of the things I wish the game expanded upon, like maybe a boss that is big and needs to be shrunk down, but you have to get really high up, and it's attacking you. There are these jester enemies, and when you hurt them, they make pillars go up or down, which the game uses in its levels. Think of the hub worlds as a demo for features in the levels. The boss level is a very excellent showcase of this. Jacques is the boss of Dreamweavers. His name is a play on what he is. A Jacques in a box. Ha! It's very funny. Yeah. Anyways, he's just a basic run towards the enemy in flame. That's not what I want to talk about though. The boss levels haven't been too good for exploration, but Jacques puts that to rest with hidden areas galore. I had a really fun time exploring the level that I nearly completed the level 100% before taking out the big man. It's definitely not as good as some other levels, but this one is definitely better than Treetops. I'll get you one day, mark my words. But before I do that, Spyro needs to catch a ride with the balloonist to Gnasty's world. Once landing, Spyro saves a dragon, and he tells him that he is the one to defeat Gnasty. But he has to complete each level in the world. Gnasty's world is themed around a harbor, but only has a measly 2 levels and a boss. I really would have liked to see more used with this theme, because it has so much potential. Like Spyro riding on a boat and you can explore the insides with seagull enemies and stuff. I really like the GNORCs throwing crap at the sea, just polluting it. Better start early than never at all. Oh, and also the GNORCs with guns. Oh, sorry. Pink gel cannon thingies. Alright, I fixed the issue. They now have guns, and also some tigers in case they need them. Opening locked chests with the steel barrel was a neat idea that I wish they used more. Maybe you would need to get really high and knock one down to your chest. Anyways, after completing both worlds, you were given access to the final boss. Gnasty GNORC is, should I say... Yeah, I can't even pronounce that. First you have to chase the blue thieves, but now they have keys. Then you have to get to Gnasty and chase him, burn him, and you're done. I can understand the other bosses. They're kind of just like normal enemies with some extra hit points, but why is the last boss just a rewinded chase scene? I get that the game is more for children, but children are better than that. I think? Gnasty GNORC is kinda like Bowser in the first Mario Bros. Game, but Bowser was hard because he didn't know how to play video games. I'm straying too far. After defeating Gnasty, all is good in the Dragon Kingdom, and a dragon appears in the middle of Gnasty's world. He tells Spyro that if he completes the game 100%, that the closed door will open. And once you complete 100%, what do you get? A pretty good level called Gnasty's Loot. Gnasty's Loot. It has 2,000 gems, infinite flight, and the stupid egg guys with keys. I think this reward is pretty good because it's not too hard to 100% the game, and it's fun flying around finding 2,000 gems. I also like how you have to get to high points to fly higher, so it forces you to explore. I do wish there was a little bit more like the stupid gem door opening, but it's still a pretty good prize. Oh, and there's also an ending that sorta hints at a sequel. All in all, Spyro the Dragon is a great platformer and collectathon, rivaling the likes of Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. Exploring is fun, the graphics, music, and controls are amazing, and the enemies look funny. The bosses may be a bit lackluster, but the good outweighs the bad. It's one of my favorite platformers and is wonderful to come back to. I played Spyro for the first time last year and I instantly loved it. My opinion hasn't really changed, and I think it's for the better. These reasons and more are why Spyro the Dragon is so good. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later. See ya.